Welcome, SJM Steven, to Play Hard Look Dope.
Happy to be here. I grew up in a small town called Shrub Oak, New York, on a farm.
You grew up on a farm?
Yeah. But it was a hard upbringing, being paid like $300 a week. When the kids grow up and start going to school, I want to have a career for something I want to do. That's when I began studying photography.
So you were a salesman.
Right, on the phone and then eventually door to door. You threw the phone, so I take it as you tried to hit me, but now, not backing down, I actually come around the counter, it was an i1000 Nextel, break it in half, throw it in a garbage can, and then horse kick the garbage can over.
That's amazing.
So, stay-at-home dad was your next job.
Yeah.
How was that decided in your household?
It was decided because at the time my wife made a lot more money than I did. She owns her own CPA business, so it made sense, like, for her to keep working and have her own business and everything while I raised the kid. This is the raw truth, and only people in that position will say, yep, that's right.
Where did you start to feel a little bit of stability in your professional life?
This was a crazy question because this happened in my 40s, but 100%, without a doubt, hard work pays off. I've had like years of like no income, like on my side.
You were a stay-at-home dad, so did you feel valuable at the same time?
No, and you know what?
What did your wife think of this?
I think she thought it was like I was trying to like make a hobby into something. Because everyone now thinks they're a photographer.
Yeah.
So it basically was a hobby. I mean, you may have been trying,
Right.
but it was like a hobby.
But the one thing.
Welcome, SJM Steven, to Play Hard Look Dope.
Happy to be here.
The fact that we're all sitting here still after everything that we've been through, and even in our regular personal lives and as friends, is so amazing to me. And I'm so happy to get into this conversation.
Well, the thing is, and this is on a serious note, like, all three of us have been through enough to have like maybe 4 or 5 movies made after us.
Absolutely, 100%.
But we still found a way to get through it all, create businesses, to have fun, keep our relationships.
No, for real, that's true.
And we have to be like, you guys are the most realest friends I've ever had.
Likewise.
Because we can have fun, we could fight, I could call you up and be like, why'd you do this to me? Or
Right.
you
We're
could
back
call-
and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've called you and I'm like, what,
Right.
Steven, what
Where's the fucking pictures?
Yeah, I'm like, what's
Yeah.
going on? He's like, I don't know if you know.
To me, that's a healthy relationship.
I
Yeah.
agree.
We
I
don't
agree.
bottle anything in, tell it
No.
like it is.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
honest, it's
I
raw.
agree.
100%.
But in the end, it's constant love and respect for each other.
100%. I want to go back to, and I'm going to learn a lot about you as well. I want to go back to your childhood. Where did you grow up? How did you grow up? And did you always know that you wanted to be a photographer?
I grew up in a small town called Shrub Oak, New York. It's
Shrub Oak, New York?
Yeah, it's actually at the top of Westchester County, just before Putnam County.
Oh, get out.
On a farm.
No
You grew up on a farm?
Did you milk cows and shit?
No, but we had a barn, and just previously before I was born, we had horses. And,
No way.
and the barn eventually got pulled down by my neighbor with a Jeep. They tied like ropes around all the beams and just floored it and collapsed the whole barn.
Why would they do
Intentionally?
that?
Well, yeah, intentionally, because we were
Yeah.
looking to get rid of it. It was old, falling down.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I grew up, like, my whole childhood, I wandered around in the woods with my buddies, and we had forts and rode bikes and were out all day. Obviously, this is before cell phones.
Yeah.
All we had was the phone on the wall.
So like when you would leave the door open in the house, your mother would be like, you think we live in a barn?
Right.
And you're like, yeah, we do. We fucking
They
do.
Our house growing up had like holes in the ceiling. Like,
Yeah, how did you grow up? What
so
was
my
that?
dad bought this old house that was run down from his mom, and you know, my parents busted their ass and like really tried to raise us, and you know, that's a whole different story. But like overall, they did a wonderful job. And you know, when I was young, I
And
didn't
who's
understand-
us? Who's us?
My sister and I.
Okay.
You know, when I was younger, I didn't understand a lot of things going on, but overall, I have to give them props about like how they raised us, and they always did the best they could.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, it was I didn't grow up in a mansion, and we didn't have nice cars. We had good cars and stuff, but like it was truly like, you know, just growing up from almost like not close to nothing, but it was a hard upbringing.
Yeah. What was school like for you?
I was bullied nonstop.
You really?
Yeah. And looking back, it was absolutely terrible for me. I used to like burn myself and cut myself and everything
Oh my
because I just
goodness.
hated life and stuff. But the funny thing is, what those bullies were doing were actually like grinding my like blade and just my sword and maybe preparing me for the world and everything. But like,
Hmm.
This is like what age?
Yeah, what
well,
grade?
so this started like at the end of elementary. It got really bad in middle school. In middle school, I was like always getting in trouble, always getting suspended, always getting into fights. And then this went on to like ninth grade, and then it stopped when I like met my first girlfriend, like high school girlfriend.
Yeah.
Um, because I didn't care about the bullies anymore, but it was very tough. And to this day, I'm very sensitive to like bullying, cyberbullying, and I teach my kids like don't ever bully anyone, you know, and they listen to us and that and understand. They're good with that. But all the people that bullied me are like have terrible lives
Yeah,
now.
they're all fucking
It's so
losers.
crazy
They're
how that turns
losers.
out. The bully
Fucking
doesn't
I
losers.
always,
wish
they don't
that
win.
on them,
Yeah.
but that's just how it happened.
Yeah, that's just
Right.
what
They
happened.
wind up being losers.
And the funny thing is, a lot of people contact me now, and it's like we'd love
Not the
to,
bullies, no way.
yeah, like
Same thing with you.
we'd
Yeah,
love to
they
like
have.
come to the
Yeah.
studio and hang out and check out the models, and I'm like, oh, the way I remember it, this is I'm not gonna say names, but one of the people who recently contacted me, the last interaction I had, he punched me in the stomach and spit on my face while I was on the ground.
Oh my God.
So now he wants to come into my space.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. That's like a delude.
Yeah,
There's something
but
completely
to
wrong
even
with people like
think
that. Yeah.
they knew what they did.
Yeah,
To think,
100%.
but anyway. So yeah, that and then I went to a community college. I dropped out, and a lot
Me
of
too.
So how far did you
Me
go?
too.
I did
Like 5 days?
no more than that. I did the first like year or whatever
Okay.
Me
4 semesters,
too.
and then like the first or second semester I dropped out. And I may have told you this, but not many people know this. So I worked for the guy who was portrayed in the movie Wolf of Wall Street.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh my.
and thankfully I left there just before they
What
had like
did
the
you
whole
do? What did you
busting.
do?
I was the cold caller, like everything you saw in the movie, like
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. But like I was
okay. I didn't
there when
know.
they were selling the Steve Madden thing and all
Get
that,
out.
and that's all I want to say on that. But
Right.
like
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
seen the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
movie actually that was Boiler Room was the first movie that was portrayed on that.
I've heard of that movie.
But Scorsese knocked it out of the park with accuracy. And everything you saw in the movie, like I was at that Hampton house that was at the movie, I was there.
Oh my goodness.
And this is like fast forwarding, but I feel like everything that I've done has been like close to being like on a level of like almost like very bad for me, but like I don't know, it always like I have so many adventures. It's like unbelievable.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna forget a lot to tell tonight, but there's a lot
Yeah.
we can go over. But yeah, so then I dropped out of community college for that place.
I mean, I would have
How
done
long
too.
did that last?
That was a year and a half of being paid like $300 a week,
Wow.
cold calling from like 8 or 9 a.m. Well, they prep
I have
you.
another friend who did that as well.
Yeah, and then
And
oh,
he
they
was
still
at
have the
he was,
business
no, he was at that house as well.
in Long Island or
Yeah.
yeah. So I
Holy
worked for the sister one in Westchester.
And where'd you go after that?
So then I got hired by, well, now it's Verizon, but this is how old I go back. There were 9X when they hired me, and I sold Yellow Pages for like
No,
4
that
years.
big ass fucking
Yeah,
phone
yeah.
book that you
Wait.
flip through.
Yeah.
This is before
Holy
cell
I
phone.
had one of those in my house. I know
Yeah,
what that
yellow
Well,
is.
everyone
Yeah.
did. Well, like
We had
didn't
a
have
phone book.
computers,
Yeah. You had
But
to
it
go
was
through.
I stayed with the company through 9X, and then they had a big launch pop party, and they're like, now we're Bell Atlantic. Then they had a big launch party. Now we're Verizon.
Holy shit.
They've
Yeah.
been Verizon for a while.
They've been
Man.
now Verizon for a
Yeah.
while.
How are the Yellow Pages doing?
They don't exist anymore. Well, at least not around here.
So what did you do exactly? Like you
I
would-
sold the ads in the Yellow Pages, and
Okay.
yeah, and like sold the ad space.
So
and,
you were a salesman.
right on the phone, and then eventually door to door.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So you were a salesman out of college selling stocks and shit like that.
Cold calling. I didn't do the selling.
Right.
But you have to
Then you were
convince
selling
people.
yellow pages. Then what'd you do?
After that, I had a very brief stint. This is hilarious. And again, I know I didn't tell you guys this. I worked for a long distance company selling long distance.
Selling long distance what?
Phone.
Like
You
the
wouldn't know
phone
about
lines.
this. Yeah.
Like we'd call
Right.
people and say, "Oh, we'll swap your lines out."
So that I can call to Virginia?
Yeah.
No, so like back in the day, like a lot of people would
Like,
call to
there
like
was no,
Ecuador or something. So you'd get a discount
There was
calling
no
to
nationwide
Ecuador.
calling or anything.
I didn't know. I've
Yeah,
never
so
heard of
you
it.
Yeah.
get like it was so fucking expensive to make long distance calls. Like my
Okay.
mom would call Norway and would be like $8 a minute,
Yes,
something
it
like
was
that.
a lot
So
of
somebody like Steve would say to my mother, you know, I can get you a deal where it's going to be $6 a minute, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
And then you go with
and
your company.
and we lock you in for a year,
Yeah.
and you know,
Okay.
and
some
that was
bullshit.
Damn.
that was actually a terrible job. But the thing I remember about that. Oh, first of all, the other thing too is they gave me a company beeper.
Oh,
I had one of
yes. The
those
little
sky
thing.
tells
Yeah.
with like the 4 lines of text on it, and I set it up to get like weather and news alerts. Like I was like balling.
It is raining 5 feet in front of you.
Yeah.
Like,
And
that's
so
awesome.
that's actually I was with that company when 9/11 happened,
Mm.
and I have fond memories. Is we were having a meeting, and they interrupted the meeting and brought in this little black and white TV, and we actually watched the whole like thing unfolding on the Spanish network.
Tell it.
C-SPAN,
Telemundo,
C-SPAN.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was like this. It was so scary,
Yeah.
and people were calling our office saying they can't reach
Yeah,
relatives
of
and
course.
friends.
Yeah, they couldn't.
You know, and obviously it wasn't us at the time. But
Yeah.
like, that's the one memory I have of that place that just is burned in my brain.
So at that point, you were around what age? Were you were done with college? This is your professional kind of
25.
trajectory that you're
Yeah,
going on?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. How did
And again, that was a very like low paying job. I think it was like base pay of like 20 grand or something.
Yeah.
And like then commission, you
And
know.
you're living at home, or where are you living?
Actually, no. This is even worse.
You're back in the barn.
No, you may not know what this is. I think John will. They paid me on a draw.
Oh shit.
You know how bad
Yeah,
that is,
so
right?
that means
That
you got to
is-
get your commission back.
I don't know.
Meaning-
what that
So
means
they
at all.
advance you like $1,000,
Yeah.
and you have to make $1,000 in commission.
Or they
Otherwise,
take
you
it- they take it
otherwise you
back.
owe them money, and then it goes to the next month, and the next month.
Well, that's so
Right. So every
complicated.
check I got, if I didn't sell anything, it was putting me more in debt.
right.
Oh, so you wound up owing them money?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you don't understand that. That's
Is
how
that
come.
not a scam?
No, that's
They
how.
don't do that anymore,
No.
right?
Yeah, the commission jobs they do that. Yeah,
Oh,
they do.
no.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah.
So you can leave the job like that's awesome. You can quit $20,000. Thank you for your time. To write a check. That's
They
crazy.
try to collect, but
Yeah.
Damn. So how did you?
So you're not a big. So you're not a big fan of long distance.
no.
I'm not answering any calls. I'm not making any calls. You can go and yourself. How did you? Where did you start to feel a little bit of stability in your professional life?
This was a crazy question because this happened in my 40s, but when I started photography.
Okay, so so let's go back then. When did photography become of interest to you and why? And
Okay, so
how?
this is funny, but photography was always a thing to me. When I worked for the Yellow Pages, I brought my own computer into the office, and I'm like, why are we typing up and like, oh, when we made the ad, we would cut like things out of like the newspaper and put an ad together, like letters, and we're like ransom notes. Like, here's your ad. And I'm like, you could do this on a computer, right? And I brought my own computer in.
Would you have one of those IBMs?
Oh, with the screen, like, and the monitor was this small, but it weighed like 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And it had to be like 10 feet away
And
from
when
the
you look
wall.
at it, you see
And
the
was that
rolling
like
bar.
that off-white color shit?
Yeah.
That was the ugliest color they could have
Yeah,
chosen for
yeah.
anything ever.
And I had the wired mouse and everything and the big clump. But I was
You pull it. to try
typing
to
my
type.
ads up on what was it, Microsoft Word or whatever?
Yeah.
Or Word Perfect or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And then printing them and just cutting them out and sending to the proof company.
Damn.
And they were like, so people would come to me and be like, can you do this ad for me? Because I don't want to like cut out 20 newspapers.
Okay.
And so I was charging like $20 on the side in there to do ads.
Oh,
So
that's
you were
nice.
making back the
Company.
commission.
So you were grinding. There you go.
You were.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
all our people grind.
No,
That's
they
a
do.
common denominality.
And
You,
so-
your friends are, yeah.
when I would go out, like people would give me like graphic design work, and I'm like, why don't we take a picture of your business? That's just when digital cameras came out, and I had that one that took the big floppy disk that holds like 4 photos. I don't know if you remember this.
Full photos.
And I would take a picture of their limos or their pizza business and put it in the ad. And I like to think that I kind of like revolutionized
Yeah,
the now failed Yellow Pages.
yeah, you did.
I feel like there's a little bit of that in there.
Yeah.
So you were always into
Yeah.
kind of doing stuff
Right.
graphically and photography.
And then after that, I worked for a company that's now defunct, but I was there for 8 years. I loved it. Wireless company, and we specialized with Nextel. And I started there as a sales rep, then became store manager, then regional manager, and then when they moved to California, I was customer service director for the entire company,
No shit.
running like
Nice.
60 stores.
60 store. Where was this?
We're based out of Elmsford, New York.
So give me a good story that happened like
Yeah, come
behind
on,
the
give me
scenes in
something.
one of the stores. Like you ever fuck one of the sales associates or anything like that?
No, God.
Okay, well, I was gonna just
Something
say,
behind the scenes.
like somebody's phone broke and you guys swapped it out for like a
So-
worse phone, but okay.
Oh my God, this was funny.
Yeah, give me a
There
good
was
one.
an issue. I don't want to say their actual duty for the company, because if they were ever listening, they'll know. But it's funny anyway. This person went on like a company retreat, and I didn't go. But the next day, she sent out an email saying, "This is company-wide email saying, all, if anyone has pictures of me doing what I did last night, please delete them right now."
Oh my God.
The funny thing is, no one knew about it except for like 4 people. But now,
Now
like,
the whole company.
Now
knows.
everybody's
everyone's like, okay, who was there? I need
Yeah.
pictures. And I will say, she may have been HR, which was hilarious.
Oh shit.
No, HR people,
Are freaks.
they
Yeah,
yeah,
once they
Yeah.
have a few
they
drinks.
have a few drinks because they
Yeah.
can never let their guard down. They go to the
Right.
holiday party for the office. HR is out of control.
But that location was like absolutely amazing. We had so many great stories, and I mean, we sold phones to everyone.
So let
like-
me ask you this: Did you
Yeah.
ever like read somebody's like text messages? and
Yeah,
shit on
when
the
they
phone?
brought
Come
the
on, give me
phone.
something good.
When they
Oh,
brought
man.
the phone to unlock
Or
it,
somebody else, yeah, they bring it in,
So
and you look at their
I
photos.
have a horrible story about that.
back
But I'm
when
not
like,
gonna.
we were doing Nextel. Nextel's the company who actually kind of like revolutionized the photo messaging ringtones. We would like install ringtones in people's phones and everything.
Like U2 when they did that to Apple.
Yeah.
They just put their whole album
Oh
on there.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we would do the ring, and someone handed me their phone, and as they're handing, a text came in of their girlfriend or wife or whatever.
Like
Like a
nudie?
photo,
Yeah, with like
scantily clad.
a large toy inside of her.
Oh, that's amazing. And what did you do?
I'm like,
Why would he? Oh my goodness.
no, the text came in.
No,
as,
but
Right.
why would?
Why not?
yeah, and I'm like,
Did he not say, "Honey, I'm going to the store"?
I'm like,
to
dude,
get
you
my
know what
phone
just
fixed?
happened, right? And he's like, what? And I'm like, he was so embarrassed.
Of course.
So embarrassed.
She didn't give him a
Oh,
warning.
and then we'd
Was
get
she
custom-
hot?
I couldn't tell from the angle. And then we'd have customers try to like fight with us, like, because they didn't have service. And one time a customer came in and
My mom would be like that.
threw the phone at me.
No shit.
So
No, my
I would
mom-
probably
My
do
mom
that.
would do. No, everybody knows going to the cell phone store.
Yeah.
Is like the post office, the DMV,
Cable
Oh,
company.
yeah.
the cable company.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
So yeah. It's
and
how,
so I picked up the phone, which is still working, but I walked around the counter, broke it in half, like,
That's what
No,
I'm
no,
looking
listen.
for.
and I
This is
threw it in the
fucking
garbage can. We were in a mall.
This is the best.
But if that wasn't enough, I then kicked the garbage can and knocked it over.
And what did they say?
so yeah, please.
Well, what do you say? Like, you threw the phone, so I take it as you tried to hit me, but now, not backing down, I actually come around the counter, break, it was an i1000 Nextel, break it in half, throw it in a garbage can, and then horse kick the garbage can over.
That's amazing.
So, obviously they called security, and security
Yeah.
was like, well, you threw the phone at him.
Right.
So we can call the police and talk about that, or you could just leave.
Ooh, yes.
And the security loved me because I would give them all ringtones for free.
Well, then you have to do
So
that.
then what'd you do after this job?
After that, it
Field
became,
goal kicker or something?
yeah.
He was like, let me try out for the Giants. Okay. Tell us what you did after that. How did you kind of go
Okay,
into
here we go. This is the
photography?
big one.
Yeah.
Stay at home dad.
Stay at home dad was
Yeah.
your next job.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to stop you really
Easily
quick.
the hardest job.
I was going to say, there's a lot of stay at home mom content. There's a lot of friction between who should be the one staying at home. How was that decided in your household? How did it make you feel? What was the experience like?
Great question.
So it was decided because at the time my wife made a lot more money than I do. She owns her own CPA business, so it made sense, like, for her to keep working and have her own business and everything while I raised the kids, which I thought was awesome and rewarding. But at the same time, like, anyone can tell you, it's easily the hardest job ever.
It's
Sleep
unbelievably hard.
deprived, like you don't get to talk to adults really.
Yeah.
It's like you're barely showering, and this is the raw truth. And only people in that position will say, "Yep, that's right," and everything. Like, you constantly have formula all over your shirts, and
And you're talking in that high pitched voice all day. You're like, you can't do that.
yeah. And then
Okay.
I wanted my wife to sleep so she could bring the income in and go to work and everything. And she's like an absolute trooper herself. Like, she was back in the office like a week or less after having the baby because
She was?
yeah, having our daughter. And it was just like, it was very tough, but at the same time, that's where I was like, okay, when the kids grow up and start going to school, I want to have a career that for something I want to do. I don't want to go back into sales and this and selling like long distance and cell phones. I want to do something that I want to do. So that's when I began studying photography.
While you were
Right. And now keep in mind, I always had a camera as a kid. I always loved it.
Okay.
I was always like the kid going to Photomat, turning in a roll of like photos and one are good, And so that's when I read YouTube, everything. And I have to say, like, that was also a long struggle to get to this point. And the biggest thing I've learned from that is 100%, without a doubt, hard work pays off. It just pays off. There's no other way around it. It sounds so cliche, but it pays off. And I don't know what higher powers you believe in, but I always say, like, either the universe is going to give up on you or you're going to give up. I'm not giving up. So someone's breaking, but it's not going to be me.
Oh, I like that.
That's good. That's good.
So
Patience and like consistent pushing is key. I've had like years of like no income, like, on my side, and you guys know my story. And
your story. What is that like, as especially in this society, in today's world where there's all of this, the man should be bringing home the income. You were a stay-at-home dad, so did you feel valuable at the same time?
no, and you know what? I could say like I did and everything, but like, on this podcast, one thing I like is everyone tells the truth and we're honest. I did not feel valuable. And like, men have this stupid feeling in their mind, and I'm not speaking for everyone, but that we have to like financially contribute.
Yeah.
But that's not the case, because raising a child is very rewarding and very meaningful to the family.
That's the most important thing.
I mean,
It's it is the most important
yeah,
thing. It's
and
literally, it is.
either
Yeah.
one parent works and one doesn't and raises the kids, or both works and you have a stranger raising your kid.
And then somebody else is going to raise the kid.
Yeah.
For sure.
And
for sure.
It's great that I have all these memories with the children, and as they started getting older, then my wife was able to take off more from the office and have her own memories and everything. But yeah, so like, I love that part, and it's so meaningful to me.
How long were you staying at home?
So okay, so up until my son was born, I think it was like 6-7 years.
Wow.
That's a
Wow.
long time.
Yeah,
Wow. Did that affect your ego or anything like that?
it did a little bit, but again, going back to like, this is very important for our family. And
Yeah.
but the thing that I craved is having that again, that feeling of like worth and value. Like, is what I'm doing enough?
Mhm.
Looking back, it was more than enough.
Okay. Yeah.
it was more than enough. But I also wanted to have something.
Yeah, we know your kids are great kids, so
Oh,
we
they're
can
awesome.
You did
say,
a great
yeah,
job,
you
dude.
did a
Well,
great
and
job. You did a great
I
job.
would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm like 3 as far as perfect. But I always say if you think you're messing up as a parent, then you're doing a good thing because you care.
Yeah,
You're doing a good job.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, when did you start to really think that photography was something that you could do professionally and eventually full time?
When my daughter went to preschool, I would sit in the hallway of the preschool and actually the director's office and read books on photography and everything. And it took me a little while to actually get out and like present myself as a photographer. Um, and keep in mind, for years I wasn't charging, and I was like, "Can I come in shoot your food for free?" And they would
Mhm.
give me lunch, and I always looked at it as like, "Wow, I'm getting a free lunch to learn," or I'm doing a
That's
job, or like even if I'm getting like $50 for like a day, I look at it as like I got paid to learn today,
mm.
and that attitude is hard to come by a lot of people because they look at it as
It's
I
not.
should be
They're
getting
like,
more
I'm
money.
getting paid as soon as I wake
Right,
up. Yeah,
right. But you can't get paid as a professional when you're just starting out in anything. And actually, there's actually a couple quotes from different people, but one is from Jay-Z, and he said, "As an artist, you have to work for free in the beginning. You just
totally,
have to."
absolutely.
Like I see a lot of people that will buy a camera, start a website, put up their rates. It's not going to work. You don't have the book, the portfolio. Now, the day I started my business was the day I went on Facebook and I saw P Diddy put up a comment saying,
Hmm.
"If you do something that where it's all you can think about and you can't stop thinking about it, it's impossible to fail."
Mm. So that was like in your mind, you
Yeah.
saw that quote, and that was kind of a
So
internalized
that
turning
very
point.
night when the kids went to bed, because I'm like, all I'm thinking about is photography. That's all I see myself doing. I don't see myself doing anything else. So what P Diddy said is no way to fail. It's not gonna
Man.
happen.
So this is like how many years ago?
I would say maybe like 8 years ago.
Okay.
So that night when the kids went to bed, I went on. I forgot the name of the site, but I started my LLC and everything.
Oh, no way. You
Yeah,
like took it to heart.
yeah. Because
Shit.
And
literally,
what did your wife think of this?
Yeah.
I think she thought it was like I was trying to like make a hobby into something,
Hmm.
and it was like that for years. I
So
mean,
she didn't take it seriously.
she's fully supported me,
Okay.
100%. But I don't think she saw it like I did. Not her fault at all. Like we have real kids, real rent. I mean,
Right.
real mortgage,
Right.
real
Of course.
cars. Like we
Yeah.
need
She's like, what is this
shit to
gonna?
start coming in. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but without her, this would have never happened.
Right.
Yeah. I always told you she was a G.
Yeah.
She's
Oh
a
yeah.
G.
She's ride or die.
Yeah, she
For
is.
life.
She is.
What about your friends? Did they take your
All my friends thought it was a
passion
joke.
seriously, or
Yeah.
The person at Best Buy when I bought my camera, I bought my camera and I told I'm gonna become a photographer, and they're like, "Yeah."
good
So, like,
luck?
everyone says that.
Like everybody comes in
Keep
here,
in
they say
mind,
that.
anyone with a cell phone a cell phone with a camera, which is everyone now, thinks they're a photographer.
Yeah.
Well, it's like all these Instagram people. I'm a model. I'm a
Right.
photographer.
It's the same thing. That still hasn't
Something.
changed.
No, that hasn't changed.
Right.
So, what was your first professional experience like being a photographer?
So the first professional job I did was a Sweet 16, or was it just a bird? I can't remember, but Big Rich Lamardo. Um, I think I charged him like $75, and he gave me a lot more than that.
Wow.
And I don't think he knows this, but I went into the restroom and in his house, and I was tearing up a little. Yeah.
Wait, so this was
way.
what, his kid's party?
Yeah, and they hired me. They totally believed in me, and
How did they find you?
they knew me. We were friends before.
Oh,
and
okay,
everything.
okay. So he's like,
Um,
Stevie, I'm going to give you a shot.
Yeah, with their kid's birthday party at their house and everything.
Yeah.
But like, that's when like that kind of like inspired me to start pushing harder and harder and harder and everything. Um, and from there, it was just like that, and then like maybe 8 months down the road, something else. Maybe 6 months.
Really?
Yeah. So
So it basically was a hobby. I mean, you may have been trying,
right.
but it was like a hobby.
But the one thing is, this whole time I kept thinking of myself as this big time photographer all the time, no matter
Yeah.
what.
You saw it in your
Yeah.
mind. Yes. Yeah.
It's called future thinking.
Yeah.
It's thinking about what you want in the future and just letting it play out.
Like manifesting it
Yeah,
in a way.
manifesting.
100%.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
when you were during these downtimes, what were you
So
when you weren't, booking a job? Were you were teaching yourself new skills, or were you just kind of advertising yourself? Were you
Yeah,
marketing
great
yourself?
question.
What were you
Were you
doing?
getting discouraged?
Yeah, how
oh
did you?
yeah,
Yeah,
oh
question.
yeah,
what happened
yeah.
during those times?
Like to become like, and I'm not like putting myself on a massive pedestal, but I am going to put myself on a little pedestal. To get to this point doesn't just happen. Like it's not a whim. Like it takes true blood, true sweat, true tears, many letdowns, many depressed nights. But again, going back to I'm not going to give up. So something's going to happen, but I'm going to keep on pushing.
So what keeps you going though?
Yeah, how do you do that?
The feeling of this is what I'm supposed to do. So there's no other option. There's no other vision I have. So it's gonna work out.
So,
So I
like,
have to keep
So there's
following.
no plan B.
There is no plan B.
There's
But
just-
you
it's
wake
just
up in the
plan A.
morning and you haven't gotten a job in a month.
Yeah, what do you do? How do you- yeah.
How do you manifest that fucking energy? Like, I'm gonna kill
A
the
lot
day.
of it was,
Very true.
was going on Instagram, putting on like I'd go outside and take pictures of rocks and bushes and stuff, and
Faking it till
the
you
lake.
make it.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
little bit. Yeah,
That is so true.
literally
That is
my
so true.
daily life.
No,
Absolutely.
that's a true grinder, man. That is
It
fucking.
because
it's
you're like living two
you-
separate lives.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm portraying
Yeah.
that I'm doing well and I'm doing my thing and I'm
Right.
learning, but in the same time, I'm not doing anything right now.
Yeah, a lot of people
Right.
would have just panicked and said, "That's it. I'm fucking
I'm going
done.
back to
I'm getting
corporate
a
life."
job
Yeah.
in sales."
Right. Yeah. And I thought about it like for a second, and then it like disintegrates in my mind. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just go to Trader Joe's or Starbucks or
Yeah.
something, and
Yeah, get
maybe do this
20%
on the
off
si-
of groceries or
yeah,
whatever.
maybe
Yeah.
do this on the side and see if it goes. But then once you do that, it's over.
Yeah.
Once you do that, it's over. Once you have a plan B, it's over.
John agrees with you. He says all the time, he's like, if you have a backup, he's like, you're not all in. He's like, then you're not taken seriously when you're not all in.
I mean, I feel it goes different situation for like us three. That's the way it is, but
Yeah.
everyone's different,
So at this point, you are professionally taking photographs of, people,
Rocks.
things,
Yeah, rocks,
rocks.
chasing a butterfly down a football field or something.
What financially, since if I'm correct, you were taking in not a lot of money from the jobs that you were getting.
Right.
How did you take that step to purchase proper equipment to be taken more seriously? Was that a conversation with your wife? Was that more so I'm going to use savings? Like, how did that work? Because that's a leap. Once you jump
Great
in
question.
financially, now you have to make that investment
Right.
back. How did you do that?
So to this day, anything that I buy for the business always comes from money I generated.
Mhm.
I never touch our personal savings. I never touch anything. So the only thing to do is open up a ton of store credit and credit cards and max them the hell out.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so I need this to advance. I need this to advance. Now I'm just buying shit because I like technology.
Yeah.
You know,
I know. You're like, you're
But,
passionate
like,
about
okay,
that.
I need this lens to do this thing. I need at that time I wasn't droning yet, but like eventually I needed a drone so I could do real estate. This so I could do product. This so I could do headshots and everything. But I always like no matter how much money, like at one point I had like 20 grand in credit debt, but I always said it's all gonna be fine.
You'll figure it out.
It's all gonna like happen.
Yeah,
you can
and
relate
any
to that.
business person
Can relate to
anybody
that.
starting a business, totally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I fucking live that life.
One thing I feel like I have so many questions now that we're in this setting. When you were doing this, I feel like people say it to us all the time. They said to us, you could start a podcast with your phone. Like, you don't need equipment. And I'm like, well, are you going to watch a podcast on my phone with no equipment? Probably not. Did people around you say, you don't need the best camera. You don't need this. You can just start it with your phone. Keep going with your phone. You can make it that way.
I knew what I wanted and needed.
You knew the
And I
quality.
believed in myself more than anyone else. I used to say, I don't need you to believe in me because I believe in me.
Nice.
Oh, I fucking love that.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
It's hard to believe in
Yeah.
yourself.
So at what point in your career did we meet you?
Yeah.
That was like kind of like the beginning of the rise up. Yeah, actually, how many years have we known each other?
I was looking back. It's
Gotta be
about
about
it's
7,
8. It's
8
going
years.
on 8. No, we're in 8 years.
Okay.
We are in 8.
So
It'll be 9 years next year.
I met you after I was contacting like amateur models on Instagram, be like, can I shoot you and everything? Oh, we got to talk about my first fashion week experience before you.
Absolutely. I was gonna say that.
Yeah, and so like I was contacting like random people, like an old creep, and be like, I see you've done some modeling. I'm a photographer. I'd like to shoot you, and people would like to go on my Instagram and see a rock, a peanut butter sandwich, like. But there was a couple of people that gave me a shot that I was that I really like use those photos, and I'm like, bring like 7 or 10 different outfit changes because I want to make it look like you're shooting a lot and I'm shooting a
We're
lot,
shooting a lot.
which I still believe in to this day. And so my big thing though, because I always believed I wanted to eventually shoot New York Fashion Week and everything. Obviously, you can't even step foot in there unless you have some sort of credentials, press, whatever. Um, and this was like kind of like a year before I met you. This is when they had Fashion Week at Moynihan Station.
Okay.
Which I don't know what it is now.
Yeah.
But so I finally like kind of bullshitted my way to get a ticket to like shoot. I get there, I find out it's not a ticket to shoot. It's a standby, standing room only ticket as like a guest, meaning you'll never get in.
Yeah, you're not getting.
I'm sitting there with like 2 like rollers of like camera
You
gear,
were ready.
tripods on my back and everything because I didn't know how it was like.
Yeah.
And so I'm like kind of dejected, but I'm like, this is supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen. So I went to the security guard. I'm like, listen, I brought all my gear. I'm a good guy. I'm like, can I just go in the photo pit? And he looks at me. He's like, get in the pit and don't make a fucking asshole out of me.
That's what he
See,
says.
everybody
I love
needs
it.
somebody
They need
like
somebody
that.
that's gonna
Right.
say
It's
that
like,
whole-
all right,
and-
fuck it.
Yeah.
I got in the pit and I
love
was
this
using
story.
the wrong lenses, the wrong camera, the wrong tripod, like everything. I was getting pushed around, but because the pit is a nasty place. Keep in mind, people make a living off the photos they shoot there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just like a random, like,
Right.
Yeah.
dad, just like,
Right.
you know.
And like you're getting in the way.
zaddy.
They're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this?
A feature zaddy. And let me tell you something. When if anyone has ever seen a fashion show, but especially as a photographer, feeling like you're supposed to do this, and for the first time ever, the light shut down, the first model comes out, and just tears. Like
you
I
had tears.
believe
You had
I was
tears?
there. I
Oh my
couldn't
god,
believe
I'm
it.
getting chills.
Couldn't believe it. I'm looking through the camera and I'm not even shooting because I'm like frozen. And then I start shooting and everything,
Shit.
and I'm like all the pictures are garbage except for a few and everything, all the wrong settings and everything. But the bottom line is I got in, I saw it happening, and I did it. And now the real thing is at the end of the show, I got to meet Paris Hilton and photograph her like in the crowd. She gave me her full attention. She was such a sweetheart. And I don't care what anyone says about her to this
No,
day.
we love her.
Photographers always say she's a sweetheart.
Yes.
I use those photos to now like we're putting gas on the fire.
I saw those
Yeah.
photos. I didn't know this story behind
then-
it.
Fast forward, I shoot her for real at a show I was invited to.
And she
Did she remember you or no?
No,
Probably not.
Okay, no,
right,
okay,
'cause
okay.
you're so far away.
Yeah, that's yeah.
The thing is, I did send them to her, and she contacted me, and then her agency contacted me, and they said they loved the photos. And
Oh my
I met
goodness.
Tayana Taylor that night.
Yes,
too, and
I saw those photos
Yeah.
too.
yeah,
So I mean, that I didn't know the stories behind
yeah.
these photos.
So, it's a combination of like everything I did, but like those Paris Hilton shots, like really just
yeah.
no, like people. Still
And it was a
talk-
good shot to the angle.
Yeah,
She was
and she's looking
right
right
there.
at me,
She was right
and-
at
yeah.
yes.
She was looking at you like,
Yeah.
I want a little
A
taste.
zaddy.
Yeah.
A future
A little
zaddy.
taste.
So what did your friends and family think about that
Well,
when
was
that
nuts,
happened?
and everyone's like, "Oh, he's big time," but meanwhile, I'm still pulling in about like 400 annually. Like I made half a rack this year.
This year.
Yeah, but you know what? Like again, everything I did accomplish, it's like yesterday's news. Like, yes, I was met Paris Hilton.
Right.
Yes, published in Forbes. Yes, interviewed. Yes, but that's old. That doesn't help me today. Those are just stepping stones. You know, when you're walking up the stairs, you're not looking back at the
So
old.
that was
steps.
like done. You're like next.
So how about when we met?
How did we meet? Because I wasn't involved in that, and
I
that
know
almost
this
didn't
story.
happen.
I'm telling it like it is.
So I want you two to tell me the story about how we met because
Okay, so
I don't
this
know.
is also a crazy story. Man. Okay, so I was driving home from a shoot with Harold, which we published in Forbes.
Yes.
Harold Hands.
Yeah, big Harold. And driving back from that shoot, I saw this old building and I was like, wow, I'd like to shoot in that building one day. Like, I don't know what it is or anything.
Oh, I remember that.
A year later, I get invited to a show in there by my boy, Chris Lavish.
Okay.
And it's at that building that I said a random building in New York City.
Yeah.
Which building?
I don't know what it is now.
I remember it's on the West Side Highway. Yeah. I know that building.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like Spring Studios or one of those.
The
Oh.
guy that owns
It
it
was
is
one of
actually
those-
very well known, and he's
Yeah.
had many like high.
Yeah, it's one of
like-
those almost warehouse looking buildings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful inside. And so for some reason, a year earlier, that building called itself out to me, and I'm like, I'd like to shoot in there. And then I get invited to the show, meet Chris for like one of the first times, and he's like, I have a shoot with this jewelry company the next day. Do you want to come? And I'm like, he's like, I don't know what the pay is and everything.
Oh my gosh. No, I
And
don't
so
know this.
the jewelry company was Play Hard Look Dope.
Get
No, it wasn't
out.
that. But that was not our name.
No, no, no.
Was it or no?
I don't
Maybe.
really remember.
It was.
It
Right?
was the old
Yeah, it
company's
was.
name.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
yeah.
So you met so
He
you
came in.
met Clavish
Yeah.
independently.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't even know how I met
I
him.
don't. So you knew Clavish before
I didn't know him. I
Steven
met him. Yeah.
Lavish,
Yeah.
the singer.
Yeah, he would always bring like a
Lavish.
different
And
photographer.
actually,
Okay.
I owe a lot to him because he
Yeah.
taught me a lot of things.
Yeah,
And introduced me to a lot of like
he did. Yeah,
techniques and like industry secrets and everything. So I'll always have love for
Absolutely,
him and everything. And especially for introducing me to you guys. Like
so
that
now
was like the
Yeah, so you
jackpot.
guys
You guys-
came in. The two of you came into Herald Square,
Right.
and you did some shots
Oh
I
my
still
god.
in
have those-
there.
I still have
And then
those photos.
across 34th Street. I remember that.
And-
Running across 34th Street.
And talk about progression. You were like at like one of those like little.
We were in a
picnic
booth
tables.
with like a
Tiny.
6-foot
It wasn't even a
table.
booth.
Yeah, it wasn't even a booth. We just had a random table.
Yeah.
So what did you? Okay, so that I wasn't there.
No, you weren't.
No.
there.
I
you
wasn't.
weren't
Yeah,
there.
I did.
No,
I
but you
did
come
that.
in at a much more abrasive time.
I did. So what was that like for you two to work together for the first time?
I mean, like, I was in the middle of trying to sell shit.
Okay.
And then the two of them come in and we're like, all right, we have about 10 minutes. Let's do this. Let's do
That's what
that.
you guys said.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, yeah. We were just like, bam, bam, bam. Let's shoot here, shoot. Blah, blah, blah.
Was everybody nice? Was it cordial?
Yeah, no,
Like,
totally. Yeah.
How it was.
But it's like, let's bang this out and let's, move
But
on. That's
The
it.
funny thing is, I knew I liked John like immediately.
I was gonna say, what was your first impression
I liked you
of each
immediately.
other?
I thought he was great.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, he's cool.
Yeah, you
whatever.
love John immediately. I don't know anyone that could meet either one of you and not like you immediately.
But
so I feel like
it's
two people
almost
like that are the
But
same.
like, it was not like you and I were working together. It was more through
Oh,
him.
with Chris, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So like he was organizing it. You
Right.
were his guy. I was his guy, and
Right.
bam, we were working with each other
Right.
through him. He
Right.
was intermediary.
Yeah, there was
okay,
like,
so he was doing
And
the
then-
styling.
Yeah, and
like, this is
then
what I want.
whatever you shot went through him, came to us. That kind of thing. I don't really remember how we connected.
So did you?
per
I was
se.
gonna say, did you guys exchange numbers? How? Because I
No,
don't.
it was,
even-
it was like bam, bam, bam. If we did, it was through him.
Did you contact me via Instagram?
I feel like he did
I
for the
don't
other shoot.
remember.
That's when I came in, and I think it was like
Oh,
maybe a
yeah.
month later.
Yeah, we almost didn't happen.
No, we didn't happen. We almost. I have to say on record, I say all the time. I'm like, John literally brought me to you, because had it not been for him and his kindness and his second chance and all of this stuff and first chance, because I didn't even know the situation, I would not
Yeah, you
have.
guys had not even met.
I would not have one of my best friends in my life and
Likewise.
such an important piece of everything I've done had it not been for him.
But tell him the story now.
I will. You tell how you
So
remember it, because I don't.
we were hiring you to do a photo shoot
on location at a restaurant.
Downstairs from a restaurant in a lounge. Beautiful space. It was like 1,000 square feet. We spent money for the space.
Oh.
We brought in like
We had
6 models.
and we had to
This was our
compensate them. This
biggest
was our
shoot.
Oh yeah.
and he just said we're gonna be Play Hard Look Dope and we're gonna launch this on Instagram. It's gonna be very important for us. So I contacted like my hottest best friends and
Yeah.
whatever they wanted. I was like, okay, this is what we have to, we have to pay them. We have to get the food.
Right.
We have to
And
get
keep
the
in mind,
alcohol.
what you put together is even big now. If you did that.
Yeah.
Big league.
No, it was
the
like-
venue, the model.
We went to the restaurant. We had to ask permission. We had to get the alcohol. We had to get it cleared, and we had to schedule like I think 4 people on the same day.
It was like
that are
it was-
working
it
actors and models. It was
6
crazy.
People
6 people.
plus their crew. Then the restaurant had to bring their crew.
The restaurant had to bring their crew
Right.
down. They had to bring
watch it,
a server.
supervise it.
Manager had to be there. So it was a big deal for us. And
we hired you as a photographer.
and I think John reached out to you because I still had no clue. And he said, I'm gonna have Steven, who shot with Chris Lavish at the booth. And I said, awesome. So photographer's done. So I'm telling everyone, professional photographer, be on your A game because he's going to be on his A game. And then the day before, I'm sitting in Herald Square
Oh my lord.
at the booth, and I don't know if I found out or if John. I think John told me. He said Steven can't make it. He's sick.
You flipped the fuck out.
Flipped out. I was so angry because I just thought I was like, and I looked at John, and I just hellfire went over me. And
Anyone would think that's bullshit.
right. I
Anyone.
was like, I was like, he's not sick, John. I was like, he's not sick. He's gonna ruin my entire shoot. I don't have I don't know any photographers. I've never done this, and neither does he. And I was flipping out. I was like, there's no way he's sick. I was like, who did you find? Who is this guy? This is a joke. He's lying. I was like, he's lying. And I said, I want to speak to him. And he calls you from his phone. And I speak to you, and you're like, you had an eye infection, ear infection. You were actually
it was everything. It was
everything
You were like in
infection.
the hospital or something.
No, it was
The official
like the
medical
worst-
term was the everything infection.
You had everything wrong with you.
I held the thermometer to the radiator.
Right. And you
No,
were-
you really were legitimately
and you
sick.
were-
No, it was
Apologetic.
the worst version of the flu you could ever get.
Yeah, you had
And the tooth infection, which had they do an emergency. What is that?
root canal or something.
Pull
extraction.
your shit.
Yeah. And I'm listening
And
to you on
I
the
had-
phone.
Yeah, it was crazy.
No, she gets off the phone. She's like, "Fuck this guy. I'm
I
done
did.
with him. I will never
was like,
work with
"Well,
him
never
again."
And I was
Anyone
like,
would
John,
think that.
I was like, okay, you can get as angry as you want. I said, I have to figure out how to find another photographer.
Yeah.
She's always the one who gets angry.
I
And
get
then I
angry.
have to
No.
figure it out.
And then he
because
fixes it.
That's why
it's
you and I
still
are
going
friends.
on. It's
Yeah.
still going on. We're still having the shoot.
And I'm fuming, and I'm just like, okay. I'm like, we'll never talk to him again. Fine, you can figure it out, but I'm never talking to him again. And then John was like, he's like, I think you need to chill because he's sick. No one can do anything about it, and he's sick, and
Right.
you need to give him another chance.
Well, no. But then I was like, okay, I found another photographer,
Yeah.
and it's gonna work. And you were the whole time. You're like, fuck him. I was like, all right, whatever.
I know you, and you must have been mad.
I was mad even at the shoot the next day. I was like, who the fuck? I was like, who are you now? And I
It was a
don't.
good shoot.
It was a good shoot, but I don't care. I didn't like him, and I don't like him. And we just didn't click, and we had a falling out. We had a whole argument with him. I did because I can argue with anyone.
Did you lose the memory?
He lost the photos, the memory card. He
forgot
brought
about
his
it.
daughter to
Forgot it
hang
was him.
out when he was shooting. It was just a mess, and it was a mess. And then
It wasn't meant to be.
it wasn't. And he was like, "This is not how it's done in the industry." I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Oh god.
I was like, you're not even in the industry.
Snowballs.
I was like, and then we wanted to do another shoot a month later. And John's like, I said, we need to find a photographer. He was like, well, we can ask Steven. I was like, Steven, I was like, is he going to be sick? I literally said, I was like, is he going to be sick again? Because he wasn't sick. And he was like, you need to chill and give him a chance. And I said, you know what? Fine. I was like, you coordinate it. I was like, I won't speak with him. I'm not speaking to him. If he shows up, he shows up. If he doesn't, then
Oh,
no,
if I burnt you guys, if I was sick again.
Do you remember that shoot? I don't even remember.
I don't
Me neither.
even
I don't
Was that in the
remember
studio,
it.
or-
I don't remember
idea.
at all. But I remember when
I can't believe the three of us don't remember that.
I don't
I
remember
would
the
think
shit.
you
I
would
could
be so
find it.
rude to him.
I could scroll all the way back on Instagram and find it,
I don't remember
but
that.
I don't remember it at all. Like zero. And I hate that, but I don't
I don't
remember it.
either.
And now, how many shoots do you think we've done together?
Jeez. Oh my
I
goodness.
mean, you guys are
That
costing me
deserves
money
like a
because of
tequila.
the amount of hard drives I had to buy.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Steven went to bat
Now-
for us.
A lot. I mean,
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know that in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing, but I remember when I met you, I just, you know how you have that, you tuck your tail in and you're like, all right, I was wrong. That's fucked up. You were an asshole. That was me thinking
Yeah.
to myself. I was
I
like,
mean,
this,
I'm a good judge of character. So
yeah. And I
you
was like,
should-
I was wrong. I was like, I think he's really great. I think I like him. And that was really awkward when we first shot together because you were so nice to me
Yeah.
and so professional. And I'm like, does he not know what I said about
And maybe
him?
you didn't read this, but I was sweating bullets.
No,
I know I had to have been.
not for us. We're just, it's John and Ebony.
And
Yeah.
then we just grew and grew and grew, and then we did road trips together.
Your sense of humor,
Is awful.
no,
No.
That's what I'm gonna say.
your sense of
No.
humor, literally, I was like, this is going to be one of my best friends. The dry
Yeah.
humor,
Yeah.
I was like, we're soulmates. I was like, we get it. We're the same. I love it.
Yeah.
And I looked. I'll never forget. At one point, I think
She
we-
looks forward to your shoots now. She
Yeah.
gets so
I do
fired up.
too.
I do. And at one point, we
That's why it took me 2 months to get back down.
right. No, at one point, I would tell John, I'm like, I told him, I was like, thank you so much for giving us a second
And I know
chance. You know what I mean?
appreciate me as I do with you guys, and we have ups and downs, but like we always have that constant love for each other, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
What's your
And-
favorite shoot of all time?
I was gonna
with us?
add.
The best thing is we started like from like crumbs together.
We started from the
We were
bottom.
all at the bottom
Yeah.
Now we're
together.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God.
you have to pay DJ Khaled, Drake, whatever.
You can't mention that.
No, we were all at the bottom, kind of
Let's speak
learning
about the
together.
Right, and we just kind of like kept bouncing off each other.
Yeah,
like,
we
growing
kinda
and
grew
growing
up
and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
My favorite shoot, I would have to say, is going to be one of the Florida ones. Maybe the first
The
Florida
first
one.
water.
Is
Yeah.
that
I-
where I got dehydrated and
that-
almost died on the beach?
Yes. Yes. No.
Is that
so-
when we slept at Todd's with no furniture?
with no furniture,
Oh,
the
yeah.
air mattress. I'm gonna
And I
put.
crashed the drone.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have to put.
Oh my God.
wait,
that was my all-time favorite.
I have to put photos of this up of the
That
Florida
was a
shoot.
great shoot.
Yeah. No,
Like-
that drone thing, bro.
The drone crash was
I
amazing.
was like, Steven, bring it into the apartment, land it on the balcony, and you did it. And I was like, and bring it around the
We have
apartment.
this video on
We'll
YouTube.
We'll
This
go
video's on
all the
YouTube.
way around the apartment. We were going around the apartment,
Yeah.
and then you went out again. And I was like, and you're like, oh shit, I'm losing the battery. I'm losing the battery. I was like, are you gonna get it in? Are you gonna get it? You're like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Shot down. And it went down.
And it
like
went
10
down.
Stories.
And he's on the, I think like the 14th floor.
17th or something like that.
Penthouse,
14, 17.
and it went straight down. Bam. You and I looked at each other like, oh my God, is anyone dead?
And then it's
That's
just
what I
me.
thought.
Right. Is
I'm
anyone
just sitting
dead?
there doing my makeup. I'm like, what are you two doing out there on the balcony? Like, this is ridiculous.
Like-
You're right.
Steve may have killed
Right.
someone.
Yeah.
But the fact that you showed up to the shoot in Florida, Sarasota, Florida, we were in the Keys or something.
Oh, it's so beautiful. there.
That's where the white sand was. We had driven to the Keys.
No, we went to,
No, not the Keys. Oh my
no,
goodness.
no, we were in
Oh,
Sarasota. We went to the
Sarasota.
nicest beach
Oh my
ever.
goodness, what was it? Not
Siesta Keys.
Siesta
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something?
Yeah.
That's the
Siesta Keys.
MTV thing about it.
Yeah,
Siesta
and
Keys.
we drove there. So you met us at the house. We went and got breakfast. I had no idea that you were not feeling well. It was about 98 degrees in Florida, plus the humidity. The sun was insane.
That's when you learn how to bike ride.
And you
Yeah.
just gotten off the plane.
After like a half hour of sleep,
Yeah,
Anna was home with sick kids. Like,
yeah. And it was
man,
nuts. And
holding it down.
you landed, you met us for breakfast, and we're like, all right, we're getting in the car right now. We're going to go shoot. I
I
had
remember wanting to like cry.
Yeah, no, and I had the bikini. We were all ready. Jewelry was packed. We drove to the beach. The sand was unbelievable. And you look at me, and like we know John. Like you and I, we can cling together now. But John is like a workhorse. Like even like
Yeah.
you and him, workhorses. But you and I can kind of connect sometimes.
Yes, yes.
You leaned in at me. You were like, I may pass out. I haven't slept, so I'm gonna do the best that I can. But I want you to know I'm sorry if these pictures today don't come out well. And I looked at you and I was like, Steven, it's gonna be great. You're fabulous. You're amazing. You can't produce bad work. And you were like, thank you. And then
No, I remember. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna
a
go
little bit
back.
of
What do you
water.
guys need? And you're like, I need water. You need something else. And I come back with everything but your water.
John
my God.
I
brought,
forgot your
he
water.
had vodka,
Right.
he had jewelry, he
Right.
had another bathing suit, and he
Right.
comes all the way. We waited like 20 minutes for him
Right.
to
I'm
get
like
back down on the
seeing,
beach.
mirages
Yeah.
and like.
And then he
I was
walks
like-
up to us and he's like, hey. And I'm like, what did you have the water? And he was like, I forgot the water. I'm like, another 20 minutes. Steven's like, all right, Ebony, I'll just start shooting with you. He's like, I may fall over. And I was like,
That was a grueling
you couldn't
morning.
but it still is to this
And this is
day
what-
one of our best shoots.
Thank
ever.
you. And this is what we talk about. It's that blood, sweat, and tears. And none of us gave up.
No, yeah, and we were in public.
While
Just
you're like
shooting
walking
like
around
crazy.
town,
Yeah.
trying to find a bottle of water in this desolate area. you
No,
know?
yeah. And we're changing on the beach. We don't
Yeah.
know. I didn't
Remember
know what I
that
was
woman who
doing.
got upset with the
Oh,
drone?
yeah.
Oh, she was like, you're Ebony. I flipped out. I was
He's
like,
like,
first of all, no one's
he's got a
looking at
wife and
you.
kids.
I was like, he has a wife and kids. No one cares
This
about
woman
you.
thought I was okay. So I was droning, filming them running
Yeah.
around the beach.
Right.
She thought I was just there for her. and
Right.
she
For
was
sure.
there.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
you stood up for me, and I love that. And I remember telling Anna,
yeah.
I'm like, this girl will kill for me.
No,
Totally.
for people that I love and care about,
Yeah.
you can't.
Yeah.
You're going to have to come with an army because I'm like, you say one thing
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's done. And John was like, Ebony, don't. Nope, she's going. She's
Yeah.
going. And I'm like, you think he cares about you on your blanket?
Yeah.
I was like, you think he wants you in the video? It's for me. But I remember that was a moment where we had first traveled together
Yeah.
for the first time. And we had to kind of live together for those 3 days, sleep on the air mattresses.
And you snore really
wake
fucking
up.
loud.
Yes. That's my feature.
I'm just gonna say that.
No, you told
For
us,
the
you were like,
record.
guys, you can close off the room. I snore loud.
Yeah.
We're like, no. First night I woke up, I was like, John, close the fucking room.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, close it right now. This is too
Or
loud.
she's like, or I'm gonna put a fucking pillow over his head.
I was like, no, I can't. But at was there any point in time where you felt like, okay, maybe we can build something together as friends and be really a part of our brand? When did you start feeling like you were one of us?
It was so I've always felt close to you guys. It was after Soho though. That's when I feel like everything started coming together.
Oh yeah. That was so after when the pandemic, when we had to close, or during Soho?
After Soho.
After Soho,
when you
okay.
closed, and
Yeah.
we all experienced
No,
like
we
hardships.
became
I
really
feel
good
like we were
friends.
really
And
good.
then when we opened in the Westchester Mall, you're like, if you guys need help, I'm here, I'll work. And you would come in and
I feel like
volunteer
it
to
still
work
was a
at
little
the
bit
store.
before the Westchester though.
Yeah, it was
Definitely
before West
before
because
West.
that was like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were checking on each other during the pandemic. We're like, are you doing okay? Like
Remember when we surprised you?
oh yes,
my
we
God.
biked.
We took our bikes on the
was a
train
blessing.
and we fucking
We
surprised you
biked
in your
to
backyard.
Eastchester
Going to
With a
surprise
bottle
you.
of wine.
with a bottle
Yes,
of wine for
and
your
going to
birthday or
surprise
something.
you. Your wife drives by us and she's like, Steven, I think I just saw John and Anna.
John and Ebony.
John and Ebony,
like,
right? And Steven's
he's like,
like, what
no.
the fuck are you talking about?
And we're like, we
Are
have
you
to be
drinking
socially
again?
distanced, and we
You
show
think
up. And
every guy that looks like a Viking
Right.
is John?
Right.
He's like, yes.
Right.
Here, I have a video of that. I have to find that video. But
That
yeah,
was
we biked all the
amazing.
way to surprise
Just to
you
surprise
with
you.
the bottle of champagne.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
John rips his shirt off, pops the bottle of champagne, and we're
Why did I
staying.
rip my shirt off.
We don't. Why did you ever? We don't know. So many
It
times.
was for Steven.
So many. Even Steven.
Even Steven loved
That's
it.
my
Even
favorite.
Steven.
But no, it became really apparent because we would work together, and I just felt like I felt so comfortable.
Mm,
And
too.
something that has happened here in the store that we're in now, people have come in and they look at the photos and
Yes.
they're like, who shoots these photos? Because they must be so close to you. And we've had photographers come
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
and they're like, this has to be a really good friend because you can't even pull this out of a person. And I don't understand that. You would understand that as a
Yes,
photographer.
yeah.
Like, when did you start to feel like, okay, I'm super comfortable working with them?
The best gift any photographer can have is a constant client because you get to know each other You get to know the style they want, the style they expect, and everything. And you also get to know how to push that client.
Mhm.
Like, let's try something else. Like, I know your comfort zones, and it's the best thing. And so, any photographer that's out there needs to know how to build rapport with their clients, like right away. Like, if you could do it on a head shoot, like every time I have like a headshot, every time I have like a client come in for a headshot to my office, quickly, oh, what do you do for a living? Well, this is what I do. Geez, yeah, my kid goes to that school. By the time, like in 5 minutes, I feel like we're close.
Mhm.
Then we're gonna do the lighting, and I'm more bantered. Like, so it's good to build rapport, but we built it like unlike anyone I've ever
Yeah, the
shot with.
personalities
So,
clicked.
on the set, like it's easy to be like, I don't like that. Don't do that. This is not going to be good for you. It's not a good look.
Yeah, no,
Or
we're all honest
this
like
is
that.
Very
that.
honest.
You guys know when I see you guys pose that I start screaming like, yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
you're
like, this
for
is
me,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I do that with everyone, and
Yeah.
But like we joke with each other,
right,
and when it's time to get serious, we get
yes,
fucking serious.
Yeah.
right, and we'll
Right.
yell at each other and everything.
No, and the two of
Yeah.
you will gang up on me,
Yeah.
and then that's fucking
I
it.
felt it.
I'll
I was
walk
like,
off
oh my
the
God,
fucking
baby.
set.
I know. John
Yeah.
wants to.
No, the two of you will gang up on me.
I know we do.
I don't know what that's about,
We
but
do.
that's
I
I
don't
like
know.
to push you,
Yeah, you do.
I'm
Because
and
you
I
don't
like
have
to
to go
mess
home
with you.
with him.
No.
I'm the one who has to go home with him.
But sometimes I'll light the flame and just send them home with you.
You will. No, because okay, you're shooting a couple at the same time. That's
Yes,
different.
yeah.
We are actually a couple,
Yeah.
and
but also
We're-
like different trigger points.
yeah, but we're
Which is
actually a
interesting.
couple that
Yeah.
is involved with each other, and I think that's different than shooting a single client or somebody who shows up with their agent or their parent or whatever. You're shooting a couple, and sometimes we're not able to kind of hide who we really are, so we would argue on the set, and I feel like
But that's real.
yeah, and I
It is
feel like
real.
you reacted so well. And I don't remember even our first argument, but we would bicker. I mean, because we're a couple. So I'm like, I don't like this. And we work together. I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like that. We start arguing.
And it's like someone walks in the store, and if we're arguing, we're stopping.
We're stopping.
But
But
Steven's
for you,
family,
we were
right.
just like,
Like,
no.
fuck you.
And
Wait a
the
minute.
Family,
time
yeah.
I'll yell at you guys. I'm like, will you stop?
Yeah, he
Right.
does.
Like,
You
enough
will.
already.
Yeah, you're like, I didn't
Right.
drive all the way down here to hear you
it's like,
argue.
okay, now you guys are my kids. Like,
Right.
Right, no, totally.
And then we would argue about arguing in front of you when
Yeah.
we get home.
Oh, God.
John's like, do you really have to say that? And start an argument. He's giving us his time. And I'm like, me? I'm like, it was you. But
I think that it's good to have that type of
It
relationship.
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Our relation, our bond is insane. I want to ask you, what are some of your biggest accomplishments professionally, and what were some of your lowest points?
Okay, so the biggest accomplishments, like, it's so funny. I forgot so much of what I did. Like, you'll show me pictures, and you know this. I'll be
I
like,
know.
did I shoot
You're like,
that?
who is that? I'm like, Steven, it's all
Um,
you.
The accomplishments are just, the biggest thing is never giving up on myself and always believing in myself. But, like, look at like the publications, the celebrities and everything. Everything I did led me up to those points, but I never stopped. Like, oh great, I did this, great. And even to this day, like when I get like large checks, like it's forgotten the next day. And it's like, okay, how do we keep this going and bring more in and become not only more of like a collector of money, but also a better photographer, a better person, a better dad and everything. Those are my accomplishments, like those steps that I keep taking, everything. As far as lows, I used to like kind of like dwell with my depression and everything, and I've learned to really enjoy my depression now because I always learn from it,
That's
and
interesting.
I'm always stronger when I come out of my depression. So when I feel myself slipping, I'll like let myself go a little and just kind of like wander around in the darkness.
Mhm.
And I always know when I come out, it's always better. And actually, the last major depression I had when Omicron hit, and I was gaining some momentum back after COVID and everything. I just swapped out all my gear to buy like mirrorless cameras and better lights and everything. And then Omicron hit, and they're like, "Yeah, so the government funding has stopped for self-employed businesses, and no one wants to shoot. Everyone's scared." And I remember when October hit, I was like all on credit card from October to like March of the next year. I forgot what year.
So you went back to where you were in the beginning.
Oh yeah, and
With
we're
the credit
talking like
cards.
again I don't take money from my family savings, but we're talking like calls every day, multiple times a day from like creditors. Like, can you pay? I'm like, I don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I do if I take it from family money, but that's not the goal of this and everything.
Yeah.
And then
Did your wife know this? Did she know this stress that you had?
To a point.
Okay.
And at the time, I was actually working in the store with you, and I was so thankful to at least have your support and
I did not know that the two
employment
of
and
them-
everything. And you guys like saved me like so much, and maybe you don't know that. Like,
No, I didn't know that at all.
No, didn't know that.
Didn't know
during
that at
that
all.
time, and I never let it affect my work or anything. Again, because I'm like, it's gonna like we're gonna get through this. I'm gonna get through it and everything. There's no other option, like whatever. So I was working at the store, and
Yeah.
like you guys were like just so like important during that time.
Remember when you work in the door, you had your slick
Super
jacket
parties. We had the
Like,
yeah.
parties,
Yeah.
man.
That
Yes.
was amazing. That was
No, you were so
Yeah.
enthusiastic. You
Yeah.
showed up every day, like
Yeah.
ready to work, smile. You didn't
when
sit
it
down,
rained.
except when it
Right.
rained. You were
Well,
like,
that's
guys,
somebody else. The
guys, I'm not gonna- I'm
rain.
not gonna-
The rain. Yeah.
No, I would have never known that you were suffering through depression and financial
it was
despair.
bad, but I always saw like it's not supposed to be like that. It's gonna like push through it.
You and I
Yeah.
think the same. I don't mind going through that because I'm like, this is not my end. This is not my bottom. This is not
we
where it
can't
stops.
always have like ups constantly because we never appreciate
Yeah,
it.
what goes up
Totally.
comes
We
down.
have to have like the downs to really appreciate
Totally.
the ups.
Yeah.
If you have like a good ass week or two, get ready for a couple days of
It's
pain.
going down for
Get
sure.
ready for it.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
it has to be like that. It has
Yeah.
to be like
Remember
that.
that great night we had at the mall? We kicked ass, cleaned up. We had our best day ever.
Yeah.
And we were drinking in the store, popping bottles and shit.
Oh,
Are
and
we
the
about
big
to-
chain? This is the story.
Are we
This
about
is
to
the
talk
story.
about it?
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is the story.